Now I'm going to show you hopefully how you can learn to love N-gons when it comes to using a bevel deformer. I'm going to start off with a cube, bring the height of it down a little bit, give it a fillet, not too much, and out of that I'm going to bool a letter. So I'm going to put a Motext letter down there, change the font to something nice and fat, and place it in the middle. And I'm going to put a lowercase g because I am the G. Right, pressing R to rotate, holding Shift to constrain 90 degrees, hitting E to select, bring that up just above the surface, drag it into the middle. And now I'm going to create a bool and put the cube and the Motext into the bool to bool the letter out of the cube, and that looks fairly nice and tidy. Now to keep track of what we're doing here, and just in case things go horribly pear-shaped, I'm going to make a null, turn off the visibility, and I'll call that work in progress. And I'm going to command drag that into there, so we've got a copy of it. Let's just do that nicely, there we go. Because I want to make this into a single polygon mesh so that we've got something we can play with properly. Although before doing that, it might be nice to, if I put that whole thing, I'm going to option select that to put the bool inside a null, and then I can shift select the bevel to put the bevel in there, and you can see what a mess the bevel deformer will make of that booled object. So let's just command shift put that in there as well. Okay, right, get rid of our bevel deformer for now, so we're not going to need that for a bit. Select everything there, and then I'm going to right click and go down to connect objects and delete to make it into a single polygon object. And you'll notice that if you grab a point here, pull it around, you'll see there's another point in the same place where the edges don't actually join properly. It's very easy to get around that. You've probably seen this done 1,000 times, but if you click away or select everything, I don't think it matters which, and go optimize, all those points that are on top of each other will be connected, so it's a clean mesh. Right, and select the edge tool, and I'm going to use the UL keyboard command for an edge selection, highlight it, and select the top edges, go to select, set selection, change the name of that to top edge so that we know. Click away to deselect the tag, and then I'm going to select the bottom selection and make another selection tag with set selection, call that bottom. Right, now again, if I hold down shift and select the bevel deformer, that's obviously going to look pretty much the same as it did with the live bool. We can put our selection in the selection field to restrict it to that top edge, but you can see we've still got lots of problems going on, and this is because the mesh that we've got for this top surface here, all this stuff, is made up of these very misshapen polygons, which obviously the bevel tool very understandably can't cope with. And that's what we're going to change into N-gons, which I think you'll find the bevel deformer will be a lot happier with. So to do that, I'm going to go to the front view, and I'm going to get my rectangular selection, keeping that on the polygon selection, and just drag it so that it just goes over that top edge. That's gone a bit too far because it's actually selected the ones on the edge. We don't want that. Just the ones literally on that top plane, which are those ones. Now what I'm going to do is to save one of them, so I'm going to command click that so that only the rest of them are selected, and hit delete so they've all gone. Now I'm going to go MD, which is fill polygon hole, and then that's going to fill the whole thing. And if I go ME, which is the Polygon Pen tool, which does a lot of very useful things, and then I'm going to hold command with that edge selected, or with that highlighted. I'm going to click it, and that's going to dissolve the edge. So now I've got one N-gon filling that whole area instead of having hundreds of weird polygons. Now I'm going to go MD again for the to fill the polygon hole for the counter in the middle of the G. So that's also now just got one single N-gon in there. Now let's check our top selection. That still looks as though it's intact. So if I then click away, you should find I'm going to increase, that bevel edge actually works quite nicely now. You haven't got those shards coming off of it because the N-gon has helped it. But it's not that perfect, because if I crank this up to a healthy 2, you see we've got some nastiness going on here where it's gone over the edge, which is not quite as frightening as you might think, because what's happening here is these edges are intersecting once the Bevel Deformer does its thing, because they're too close together, which is actually quite easy to sort out. So I'm going to go back to the ME, to the Polygon tool, Polygon Pen tool, and we're going to get rid of some of the extra structure here that we don't want. These edges are far too close together. They're virtually the same point, but not quite, and that's what it doesn't like. So we need to just simplify it a bit. And you'll notice down here, because we've got an N-gon at the bottom and an N-gon at the top, as we move these points, these divisions just adapt, which is why N-gons are actually so useful. So if I now click away, the bevel tool will do its thing again, and we've got a nice clean intersection there. And the same thing's happening up here. So no surprises, we'll do the same thing again. So we'll drag that point to join it with that one. Click away, we've still got a bit of nonsense going on here, and you can see what's happening is that these edges where the bevel goes round is actually too close to the one doing the same on the other side, so that's intersecting. So if we click on the polygon object again, we can get rid of these same way if we just slide these points up until they fuse with the one underneath. Let's see if that works. Not quite. So we can move that, either move it up, or it's so close actually because we're zoomed right in. I'm just going to fuse that with the next one up. And there we go. Obviously it depends how big a bevel you're putting on there. If you're putting a bigger bevel on, you might have to get rid of some more structure. So that's actually working quite nicely. And while we're doing this, the other thing that's worth a mention is that you can see there's a lot of edges here, probably far more than you really want or need. And it's actually very easy to go through and if we select, and this is something you just need to do by eye really, just see how many edges you think you could get rid of without spoiling the shape. Sometimes it's difficult. You can always put stuff back in again if it's not right, but you get into this thing where you're so zoomed in you don't realise just how close these things are together, and you can often I think I will get rid of that one. just dissolve some of these edges by using the dissolve command, which is MN, and that will just get rid of those. Now what you need to do is then check your selections. You'll see the selection is broken here because we've changed the structure of those lines, so it doesn't know where the edge should be, so we need to show it again. So go UL for the ring selection and shift click on that to make sure that's all in place. I'm going to shift click on the outside one as well, just to make sure that everything we want selected is selected, and then we'll go up to select, set selection, and that will overwrite this tag with our new clean selection on it. So if I click away now, we've got that nice bevel edge working nicely. Now to do the same to the bottom, there's two ways of doing this. We can either, if you want them both to be the same bevel, you can add it to the existing Bevel Deformer and drag the bottom selection in there. You see we're going to have to do a repair there because I need to just redo that selection like that, set selection, and that should be okay, yeah. So that way you can adjust both of them together, which may or may not be what you want. But if we want to do them individually, then what you can do is to make a copy, command drag the deformer, and then we can, in that one we're going to remove the bottom selection, and in this one we'll remove that, the top selection. So we'll put the bottom selection in here, top selection in there, that's done. So now we've actually got two bevel deformers on there, but they're not conflicting with each other because they've got the selection tags on them. So we can change the settings from one to the other. So we could make that have 3 subdivisions, make it 1mm, and then we've got a nice clean edge. And this is all thanks to N-gons. So this is why the Bevel Deformer loves an N-gon, because as you change the settings, you'll see the N-gon adapts without breaking. But you can still go back in, as we did, and actually change the structure. This is still very complicated here. I'll probably go and simplify that, give them a bit more time, but that's actually doing what we want fairly nicely, so I'm quite happy with that. So I hope you found that helpful. Look out for some more cinema bites.